Hey everyone, I was lurking around a pawn shop the other day and I found this lamp. The owner told me that if I rub it, it'll grant me my most desired wish, so why not? I have a weekend free. It worked!
Super Mario Odyssey!
Super Mario Odyssey was released for the Nintendo Switch on October 27, 2017. It received critical acclaim from many different reviewers and was a commercial success, but I think that we should first talk about the history of the game before we review it. Starting development after the release of Super Mario 3D World in 2013, Super Mario Odyssey wasn't truly announced until the Nintendo Switch presentation on January 12, 2017. Even though it was shown off during the Nintendo Switch First Look trailer back in October of 2016, with just a simple look at a new 3D Mario game on Switch. Super Mario Odyssey was fully unveiled at E3 2017 with a plethora of gameplay videos from the Nintendo Treehouse. Super Mario Odyssey didn't have a ton of marketing leading up to its launch. There was a Best Buy event where you could go to select stores to try out the game. I actually did attend this event at a local Best Buy, and it's how I got this poster with the Nintendo World Championships logo at the bottom. Speaking of the Nintendo World Championships, Nintendo actually had a section in the competition where players had to face off against one of the bosses in Super Mario Odyssey and try to complete it as quickly as possible. It was a great way to show off the game to more people and get it more exposure. There was also this guy in a Mario costume who went around the United States to famous locations in a Super Mario Odyssey themed RV, letting people demo the game, with the final stop being the Nintendo World Store in New York for the launch on October 27, 2017. I've had kidney stones that were easier to get out than that. But what about the story? Listen, if you're expecting something as complicated as Death Stranding from a Mario game, you should probably go rethink some stuff. The game starts out with an epic battle between Mario and Bowser, who is looking more dapper than ever. We find out that Bowser has kidnapped Peach. No way! But this time, Bowser's planning to actually marry Peach this time. Yeah, Bowser's into kidnapping and forced marriage. Who knew? Bowser ends up knocking Mario off his ship by going full Michael Jackson on him and throwing his fancy top hat. Mario's hat is then destroyed, but a hat-looking thing picks it up and goes after Mario, who fell into the Cap Kingdom. It's here that we learn that this hat guy's name is Cappy and that his sister Tiara was also captured by Bowser, and so our two friends are off on their adventure to save the day. We then make our way through the Cap Kingdom and learn that Cappy has the ability to possess or capture different enemies, animals, and all kinds of things, with our first one being a frog. I mean, come on, if there's ever a better thing to show off to the player that capturing completely changes the gameplay formula, it would definitely be something that involves the staple of Mario: jumping. The capture mechanic is a wonderful addition to the Mario franchise, and now I think it'll be hard to return to the other games in the franchise or even upcoming games, because I will always just want to throw my hat at enemies. I mean, think of all the possibilities. Okay, maybe don't think of that. Super Mario Odyssey runs at a buttery smooth 1080p 60 FPS in docked mode with a 720p resolution and 60 FPS in handheld mode. The art style of Super Mario Odyssey is the best that I've ever seen in a Mario game. Everything looks so refined and polished for a true 3D Mario experience in HD, and every kingdom in Odyssey has its own unique art style. It's like playing 13 games in one. You will be going from a very realistic city environment to a cel-shaded land made of food. It's like a wonderland of all these totally obscure ideas from Nintendo, and I absolutely love it. Yup, there is no going back. Now, I've already talked about the brand new capture mechanic in Super Mario Odyssey, but what else is there? Well, we have brand new moves that Mario can perform. Mario can jump, double jump, triple jump, wall jump, ground pound jump, spin in the air, cap throw, then dive and bounce off Cappy, then spin, throw, and Cappy dive again. When playing Odyssey, you feel like you have so many movement options that they had to include an in-game guide to help you understand his moves. The game feels like a jungle gym of Mario madness, with the kingdoms being so expansive and open that you feel like you have a huge array of options on how to get around to different areas. Of course, your main goal in Odyssey is to collect power moons to power up your ship called the Odyssey. With over 800 unique power moons in the game, it starts to feel like a true collectathon similar to Banjo-Kazooie. There are tons of different challenges and other puzzles to do to collect moons. The greatest part is how these moons can be collected in so many different ways. With these new moves that Mario has, players have been able to push the limits of Super Mario Odyssey all the way. Super Mario Odyssey quickly became one of the top speedrunning games of all time, with a world record of 57 minutes and 25 seconds. Players have also been able to do some insane tricks and glitches, allowing Super Mario Odyssey to be beaten with only 3 captures. Now that's impressive. But using these new moves isn't going to be easy. To use them, you're going to need ground. Super Mario Odyssey's worlds are split into 13 kingdoms with all unique themes and moons to collect. The first kingdom is the Cap Kingdom, also known as the one that looks like a Tim Burton movie. Cap Kingdom is the home of Cappy himself, and this is honestly a very underwhelming kingdom. There's not a lot to do in the kingdom, and after playing through the tutorial, you've already seen most of the kingdom. I feel like there's no reason to come back to this kingdom other than collecting the moons there. Now, Cascade Kingdom on the other hand is what I'm talking about. A very bright and green kingdom with a lot to do. You can become a dinosaur and wreak havoc on the rest of the kingdom. There are a ton of different activities that you can do all around the kingdom. Sand Kingdom, the first of the truly huge open worlds in Odyssey, but for how big it is, it feels very empty. I get that maybe that is the point because of the desert landscape, but I wish that it was maybe smaller because there's a lot you can do in Sand Kingdom, but it feels very empty because everything is so spread out. Lake Kingdom follows, and yeah, I don't like this one. Maybe it's just because I don't like how slow Mario is in the water, or that the Cheep Cheep are just not that interesting and fun. The only purpose of the Cheep Cheeps is that you have unlimited air and you can swim faster. Lake Kingdom feels like a really cool concept, but you feel like you've seen everything after your first visit. There's not much else to do. Now, Wooded Kingdom is where it's at. This huge forest with tons and tons of different things to do, with these stretchy things that can help you get to higher areas, and let's not forget Deep Woods, where instead of death by void, you get death by boredom. Yeah, Deep Woods isn't the most fun area in the game. This is where you show shock. It's a cool concept where you have to find your way out and make it back to the surface and continue your journey, but I don't know, every time I fall into Deep Woods, I just feel sad. Onto the Cloud Kingdom, and say it with me, wasted opportunity. Cloud Kingdom's only purpose is for a boss fight against Bowser, and after you beat the game, there are only 9 moons to collect here. The whole idea of a Cloud Kingdom and a kingdom in the sky would have been really cool. I kind of wish that it could have been fleshed out more because I really want to see what a whole kingdom like this would be. And now it's time for one of my favorite kingdoms in the entire game. That's right, it's Lost Kingdom. When I first played through Odyssey, I actually didn't enjoy Lost Kingdom all that much. Maybe it was because I was bad, but playing through it now, especially after learning how to speedrun the game, I've come to love Lost Kingdom and everything that it has. In the kingdom, you will find tons of different platforms, activities, and obstacles that you have to get by to progress. I like how even when you first visit the kingdom, you only have to get 10 moons, and there are still tons for you to collect. It's the perfect speedrun world. When people are playing through Lost Kingdom, you can definitely tell between a pro speedrunner and an absolute moron.
So, are you a pro Odyssey speedrunner?
Oh, absolutely. Can I get a redo? Well, this is it. The big one. Metro Kingdom. Metro Kingdom is definitely the biggest and grandest kingdom, maybe even world in Mario history. Metro Kingdom is inspired by the home of the sewer rats, New York City. There's tons to do in Metro Kingdom, especially in the post-game. You can fling up the side of a building, talk to a man on the bench, drive a scooter, and jump rope, and all of that doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of what Metro Kingdom has to offer. Now, Snow Kingdom on the other hand, yeah, I can't see a thing. The Snow Kingdom, an obvious choice for a kingdom. I mean, every Mario game has had some sort of snow world. Snow Kingdom, though, is really interesting how it has a whole nother huge world underneath it. This area is where you access the shop and enter the Bound Bowl. You can enter one of the races by capturing the Shiverians, and overall, these races are actually a lot of fun. It's really easy to make mistakes, and it can set you back a lot. I really would have enjoyed if this mode was online so you could play against other people. Onto the Seaside Kingdom, and this is how you do a water world right. Remember earlier when I said that I didn't like the cheap captures in Lake Kingdom? I like to solve the puzzle. A hypocrite! Yes! The Seaside Kingdom is like this truly open world ocean. I usually hate water worlds in games because they are so slow and uninteresting, but Seaside Kingdom has stolen my heart. Exploring around the kingdom is a blast, as well as using the cheeps to get around. You end up feeling like you fit in with all the other fish and the entire environment of the world. Seaside Kingdom is truly one of the best kingdoms in the game, but screw that, it's Luncheon Kingdom time, baby, and yeah, I love one of the 7 deadly sins. The Luncheon Kingdom is the brightest kingdom in the game, and I feel like I need to wear sunglasses every time I play it. Luncheon is based off of food. That's the gimmick. But it's actually really cool and enjoyable to play in. The bright, vibrant colors are just so much fun, and I am a sucker for polygons. Luncheon Kingdom is also another one of those bigger worlds with tons of moons to collect, and I really do think that Luncheon deserved it. Next is the Ruined Kingdom, which is another boss kingdom, so let's say it together. Another wasted opportunity! Like, two of the most interesting concepts in Super Mario Odyssey that could have been fleshed out to be some of the coolest worlds in a Mario game are just boss arenas. I felt a lot of pain, but nothing like this. At least the Ruined Kingdom boss is really cool. When I first played the game, I was like, a freaking dragon?! When fighting this dragon boss for the first time, your heart will definitely be racing. The next time, he's just a pushover. In the post-game, there are around 9 moons to collect in Ruined Kingdom, and I just wish there were more things to do in these two boss kingdoms. Alright, well, we're down to the last ones. Next is Bowser's Kingdom. Bowser's Kingdom is actually based off of traditional Japanese architecture, and may I just say, this is beautiful. When playing through it the first time, you feel this sense of urgency and you feel like the end is coming, with the hushed music and aesthetic of the castle walls. The kingdom is split into these mini sections that you have to travel to through wires, and every time you make it to one of these wires, you feel this sense of progression. As for the post-game, Bowser's Kingdom is one of the strongest with tons of moons to collect. Again, it is one of the bigger worlds in Odyssey. And now on to the final main story kingdom, Moon Kingdom, and well, it's the moon.
Mario?
Of course, there is moon gravity, where whenever you jump, Mario goes a lot higher than normal. When you first arrive, it's quiet, and all you hear are the distant sounds of a church bell ringing. I absolutely love the aesthetic of Moon Kingdom. Now actually playing it, that's another story. Getting around with this moon gravity is cool, but you feel incredibly slow compared to every other kingdom. It's a good thing that in the post-game, there are not many moons to collect here. And that's all the main story kingdoms in the game, but there's actually 3 more, yep. I'm never gonna be free. So the first post-game kingdom in the game is none other than the classic Mushroom Kingdom, completely rebuilt in full Odyssey glory. I absolutely love this kingdom, and I mean, why wouldn't you? And the greatest part is that there's so much to do here. You can visit each tower and have a rematch with each of the boss fights, which are harder variations as well. There's this one section that looks straight out of Mario 64, and there are so many sub-areas too. Now on to Dark Side, and yeah, that sucks. Dark Side is unlocked after collecting a total of 250 moons, and it's just a fight with all 4 Broodals, and then the mech fight again. After that, there are a couple sub-areas to visit, which are like remixed versions of older sub-areas from the other kingdoms, where they're either harder, or you just don't have Cappy. Then after that, it's just a bunch of hint art. Personally, I really don't like this kingdom. I just wish there was more to do after the Brutal fight, because once you do the fight, it's just sub-areas and hint art. And the final post-game kingdom in the game, after collecting a total of 500 moons, is Darker Side. This is the big gauntlet section of the game, where you have to get through the whole stage without dying, or else you have to restart. It's easily the hardest challenge in Super Mario Odyssey. The second hardest challenge is eating Super Mario Odyssey. In Super Mario Odyssey, there are tons of costumes that you can use for Cappy and Mario. These costumes range from Luigi to Nostalgia. I absolutely love all of these costumes, and they're so much fun to run around in. There were a couple of updates to Super Mario Odyssey as well, where they added new costumes and filters for photo mode, as well as Luigi's Balloon World. Luigi's Balloon World is an online mode where you can hide balloons in almost every kingdom and have players find them online, and you can also search for other players' balloons to earn a ton of coins. So if you want some new outfits in Odyssey super easily, coin grinding with Balloon World is the way to do it. Well, after rambling on and on about Super Mario Odyssey, I can truly say that I love this game. I mean, I've even done my own speedruns of it, and it was the very first game that I ever truly 100% completed. Sure, it has its flaws, but I mean, everything does. Just take a look at my 4th grade picture. I will never forget what Super Mario Odyssey means to me and how much I love it. I will forever say that this is my favorite game of all time. Plus, I think it'll be hard to return to later iterations in the Mario franchise without Cappy or this insane movement. And now that I'm back, I can finally take a look at all those obscure games that I never took a look at. But the one thing I'm not excited for, though, is the cooking episode. Aw, how do you mess up mac and cheese?